We'll go ahead and get started now. We want to welcome everyone to the SAP S4hana webinar by SAP and Wiseman Solutions. My name is Cherie Cox, and I am with Wiseman Consultants and will be the moderator for today. I wanted to for taking the time to join today's webinar. Right now we have everyone on mute to avoid any background noises that may distract you from listening to the webinar. We're going to take Q&A at the end of the presentation, and so if you have questions during the presentation, we encourage you to go ahead and interact with our speakers by typing in your questions and comments using the chat comment window. And then what we'll do is we'll be answering the questions after the presentation. So this is going to be our agenda for the day, and what I'd like to do now is I'd like to go ahead and introduce our speakers. We have first speaking is Holger Brommer. He is the Director of GPO, Portfolio Management, ERP, and Platform Solutions with SAP. Good morning, Holger. How are you?
Morning, very well.
Yes, and then we have Casey Sahu. He's our Executive VP and Head of Operations at Wiseman Consultants. So good morning to all. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to go ahead and pass the floor to Holger. We have quite a bit to cover so that he can go ahead and begin the presentation. So good morning, Holger. I'd like to just go ahead and pass the floor to you now to move forward.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jerry. I'd like to share my screen now. You're now presenter, and let me know when you see my screen.
Certainly.
You see it?
Not just yet.
Quickly, I need to share. Okay, my screen. Okay, seems that now it's coming. Yeah, okay.
Now it's coming there.
Go to full presentation mode. Okay, then here we go. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon also from my side. First of all, I would like to thank Wiseman for inviting me to such an important session, and I'm very excited to share some insights about SAP's new S4hana solution, which was officially announced on the 11th of November. And because of the month, the 11th of this year, in which we announced this new release, we call this solution, this release, S4hana 15.11, and we will obviously also continue with that next year. So the next release will be then called S4hana 16.02, which will be then launched in February next year. Let me also quickly introduce myself before I start. My name is Holger Brommer. I'm with SAP in Germany, and I'm responsible for the global S4hana industry partner enablement. I'm doing this in close collaboration with our colleagues from the industry business units. And before we'll go into the detailed content, I would like to provide you a quick overview of what this presentation is about. I would like to start with some figures around S4hana, the distribution across different industries, and also the development of the share of HANA databases, the HANA runtime databases for our new customers. I would also like to provide you an overview about the broader context, how our environment and business are changing, what trends companies have to cope with, and what's the underlying framework for seamless design of IT and business architecture. After that, my intention is to explain a little bit in detail what has changed with the S4hana 15.11 release and what's in there in terms of new simplified functionality. In addition, I would also like to highlight some topics around the value propositions, improvements with S4hana, share some aspects on extensibility of the solution, and close with some remarks on how to migrate, convert to S4hana, including some very valuable links to respective tools and assets which we really recommend to check out or even download to get further insight. SAP Business Suite for HANA, or S4hana, has become mainstream in the market. And the numbers you see on this slide really underpins that this is reality and not only a marketing statement. And by the way, we monitor the progress on S4hana very closely, as we need to provide monthly updates to our board, so to Bill McDermott, Hasso Plattner, and so on. This is also already the point of time where we need to say a big thank you to SAP's ecosystem, meaning our partners such as Wisemen, but also a big thank you to our customers which trust in SAP's strategies and our products and solution. I would like now to highlight some figures on the slides, and what you see on the top left is that S4hana is an established solution across all industries. See here different types of industries, and of course our home turf are in consumer products, professional services, mill products, retail, and a little bit, of course, less in higher education, defense and security, because obviously there are also only limited companies in that industries. We have currently 3,000 customers, so meaning 3,000 Suite on HANA, S4hana customers, and out of these 3,000 customers, 1,300 are already S4hana customers, and 50% of those customers came through our partner ecosystem. 550 customers have already gone live, and thereof already 29 with S4hana, and we have 700 active projects, and 75% are led by partners. And from these figures, you can really see that partners are an important and critical success factors when it comes to implementation, because we cannot do this on our own. And if you look on the bottom right, you also see that S4hana not only fits in large enterprises with up to 160,000 users, but also in small enterprises with only 15 users. And this is a very important fact, as SAP hears still some noise, such as that S4hana is only suited for large companies. And this is absolutely not true, as you can see here from those figures. So in case you have any doubts, please have also a look on our references or customer case studies. We see the links here on the page. There are a lot of customers which are from the SME segment behind these references and case studies. Another fact I would like to highlight in order to prove the great S4hana adoption and that HANA has become mainstream or even an industry standard is the distribution of HANA Runtime DB for our new customers. What you see here are figures from the indirect sales channel, so channel which our partners deliver on, meaning and as those numbers, those customers are mainly in the small, medium enterprise segment. You can see that even in this segment, the HANA adoption as the underlying runtime DB for the SAP ERP or the business all-in-one solution, as we call the pre-configured solution for the mid-market, that even in this segment, HANA accounts for 75% of sold databases in Q3 2015. And also when you look on how this has progressed over the past year, starting in 2013 with ECC Suite on HANA, it really underpins that SAP strategy has been accepted, also especially in the mid-market. What you also can see on this chart is that there's a big jump from 2014 to 2015. And we saw this trend already in the last quarters in 2014. And one driving factor behind that is also obviously the significant reduced prices for hardware. I have to admit that I still hear from time to time that hardware cost for HANA is way too expensive. And there are two things which I usually answer when I'm confronted with this statement. The first is, this is not true anymore. And especially with the official approval of several hardware with the Intel E5 processor, prices are really now on a very similar level. And this applies, of course, also to the production environments. And to check it out, simply go to our website with the certified HANA hardware and click on the tab supported entry-level systems. You find every or some examples of approved hardware for HANA. And secondly, and I think this is even more important, hardware costs are only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to TCO calculation. And also there, SAP has a lot of material and even recording of respective webinars on that topic. So also please check it out on our website, Partner Edge website. I would like now to talk a bit how the environment and the business are changing, especially when it comes to the digital business transformation. Take, for example, the customer experience you see on the bottom right. Nowadays, customers are used to get in contact with a company across all channels, phone, PC, mobile, and of course even still on-site. And they expect that it makes no difference on which channel they are approaching you as a company. They expect that you have all the information, for example, his order, his payments, his address, his request, or even his complaint. And you can only manage this by being fully integrated with your accounting department, with your sales department, with your delivery or logistic department, and so on. And in case a company fails or a customer gets annoyed about missing transparency, they are very quickly overrun by more agile competitors. And this is only one example of many. But if you look in the other corners of this chart, you see business networks, the workforce, and also Internet of Things. And I strongly assume that you have already come across those areas and acknowledge that in an ideal world, those different scenarios should be nicely supported or enabled by a proper IT architecture. However, I also strongly assume that you also discover that in parallel, data volumes are exponentially growing faster, complexity is increasing because of different technologies, different so-called standards, and you name it. And I think everybody agrees that the world is getting continuously smarter with all the different technologies, but it hasn't become easier. SAP's answer to all this complexity in the digitized world is the digital core, which we call S4hana Enterprise Management. It could be that you have seen this slide many times already, but nevertheless, I would like to shortly go over this vision slide to ensure we are all on the same page. SAP S4hana is our modular, next-generation business suite delivered in the cloud and on-premise, leveraging the power of SAP HANA for real-time business and providing a new level of user experience by adopting SAP Fiori design principles. When you look at this slide, you see the dark blue box at the center of the SAP S4hana suite. So this should really represent the digital core of our suite, and this is called SAP S4hana Enterprise Management Solution. This represents our foundational core solution covering all mission-critical processes of an enterprise. It delivers the core functionality across end-to-end processes such as order to cash, plan to product, procure to pay, as well as finance capabilities, and you can refer to it as an ERP solution or our ECC suite. The S4hana Enterprise Management is being built on the one hand by simplified SAP ERP solutions or modules or application, however you name it, and on the other hand by simplified portions of SAP Business Suite products like the SAP SRM, CRM, and SCM, and those will be also simplified and reintegrated into this core in the near future. SAP S4hana Enterprise Management is available on-premise and in the cloud, and obviously comes with different licensing and subscription models. Now, in order to extend these core capabilities of enterprise management, we have introduced natively integrated S4hana LOB solutions in order to combine the core capabilities included in the S4hana Enterprise Management solutions with the solutions that we offer in our portfolio for each LOB on-premise and in the cloud. As you know, the S4hana simplified modules or application consists of a complete new code line. And therefore, SAP also needs to reflect all the specific industry solutions in their development of this new code line. And for our first S4hana release, 15.02, which you might know also under the name Simple Finance, all industries are already covered with the 15.02 release. For 15.11, we have already covered 20 out of 25 industry solutions. So except Retail, oil and gas, media, public sector, and healthcare, all industry versions are available with the 15.11 release. In terms of core SAP business products, we have all the products optimized, which are illustrated on this chart on the right-hand side. And of course, some have been more optimized than others, but we will continuously work on further simplifications here. I would like now to switch from technology to real business benefits, give you an initial feeling how you can benefit from HANA, from S4HANA. And basically there are three enablers which drives the business benefits. The first one you see on the top left, it's the HANA database or platform in itself. So opposed to traditional database system, HANA is an in-memory database with a columnar storage. And only by this, because it's pure physics or computer science, customer can significantly reduce their data footprint. We see a potential of approximately 10 times smaller data footprint. Of course, it depends from where you're coming from and whether you have already applied other data compression technologies for relational databases. The HANA in-memory platform also now enables that OLTP and OLAP come together and run on one platform. And with that, you can avoid pumping your transactional data using a more or less complex ETL procedure to a business warehouse and then prepare for analytical cubes for further analysis. And by that, you can really speed up your analytical and reporting processes. And also, you can see here up to 1,800 times. In addition, you can also benefit from huge cost savings because in many cases, you don't need a separate business warehouse anymore. And secondly, with the simplified S4HANA applications, meaning, for example, by removing all unnecessary aggregate tables and indices, the speed of transactions going significantly up, and therefore the throughput rate can be increased by factor 7. And third and lastly, with the HANA optimized Furies, the front end or new user experience, you can really reduce the process steps, meaning all the clicks, open new windows, copy data from one field to another. This process steps which are required, you can reduce by factor 4. And to demonstrate and prove that, SAP has published a lot of examples on YouTube which are accessible for everybody, and I will explain one specific example in a second. So what you see here on this page is an example of a typical customer scenario and incoming payment clearing process. So usually customer payments are cleared automatically. However, in many cases they need manual interaction, and in such cases the accounts receivable accountant needs to get in contact with the customer for clarification and correct the mapping of the payment to the open item. For this scenario, SAP has compared the process with the old SAP GUI with the SAP Fiori new user experience. And both sessions were recorded and shown side by side to compare processing times, clicks, screen changes, and fields filled. And these results are shown on the bottom of this page, and I think those numbers look already very impressive. And assuming you have approximately 1,000 cases of this per month, you can save up to 2 person days. And this is only from one of many finance processes. And on the next page, we have even more examples, but I won't go through that. But I would really like to encourage you to click on the links and watch the videos when you receive the slides here. I would like now to switch again back to some technology topics. The first one is extensibility options of S4HANA. The second will be migration or conversion to S4HANA. And I will come to the latter one in a second. So when it comes to customer-specific requirements, one obvious question which always pops up is what about extensibility, or how can we as a partner add our own value to that or fit the solution to customer needs? Or how as a customer end user can we adjust the solutions, for example, in terms of customized screens, fields, etc. As you can also imagine, to explain this in more detail would require, again, a full session. And with this slide, I would like to provide you an initial overview. What are the different approaches to extend the S4hana solution? As you can see in the blue box on the left and the orange on the right, there are two approaches for that. The first one is the in-app extensibility via built-in capabilities. And the second one is the side-by-side extensibility via the HANA Cloud Platform, or HCP. First, start with the in-app extensibility. There are generally three main options to allow changes and adoption. And you see here, the first is the key user extensibility. And with that, a key user could be a business expert from the LOBs with a decent but not in-depth technical knowledge, will be able to make changes to the UI layout, extend custom fields and tables, add analytical reports, and also change business logic by adding business process steps, obviously only to a certain level. The other both concepts are the managed and classic extensibility. The classic extensibility is only for the on-prem version and covers the already established and known development tools such as Eclipse or the ABAP Workbench, also called SE80. And the managed extensibility is new. For this concept, SAP will provide tools to support development of new code. And in addition, it is planned to provide a gate check process to sign off the add-on content. The second approach on the right-hand side to extend the S4hana solution is side-by-side extensibility. And within this approach, partners can leverage the HCP to build completely new Fiori UIs, integrate with other SAP cloud applications, or build completely new applications and business logic which then natively run on HANA or are loosely coupled to the S4hana ABAP backend. And there's more information on education, enablement, and also typical use cases when we recommend to use which concept if you follow the links on the top of this slide here. As mentioned, as the second technical topic, I would like now to talk a bit about conversion and migration options. And what you can see here on the bottom of the x-axis is there are generally three types of customer installation. The first one is the Business Suite on AnyDB installation. Second is the Business Suite on HANA installation. And the third one is the Business Suite on HANA running Simple Finance. And for each of those installations, there are certain NetWeaver versions and enhancement packages required. And as you can see, there are different migrations to come from, for example, Suite on AnyDB to S4hana 15.11. And also you can see in case you're already running S4hana or Simple Finance 2.0, you have the choice to migrate to S/fin 6.2 by first upgrading to NetWeaver 7.5 or directly migrate to S4hana 15.11. However, currently conversion of existing installations are under certain restrictions because SAP would like to ensure smooth conversions without any escalation. So stay tuned here. I think we will, in a short time, open this also for all customers. However, in order to prepare for conversion, SAP has already created several assets and documents which should guide you through the implementations. And the major documents are the SAP S4hana Cookbook, and the second is the S4hana Implementation Guide. And you will find both at the last 2 pages of this document here. One potential concern of our customers how to manage the conversion to the S4 system, taking into account the different stages as you have seen on the previous page. SAP and then many partners have developed an implementation services roadmap along the project phases of SAP Activate methodology. And this is our new or rebranded implementation methodology, and our partners have access to that for simple and safe adoption of SAP S4hana. Besides offering like the discovery workshops or services for technical architecture design and migration planning, this roadmap also provides a detailed implementation offering for each of the 3 migration scenarios, which you see here in the middle. The first one is the system conversion. The second one you see here, the landscape transformation, or when you come from another system, the new implementation. And on the top of the slide, you can see the generic 3 phases of an IT project. So it starts with the preparation and discovery workshop. And within this phase, the customer productive scenarios and transactions are analyzed and then validated, mapped to the S4hana solution. Meaning in this phase, you will identify business process improvements, simplifications, and so on. And one methodology I would like to highlight in this context, because it's industry proven and SAP had made very good experience with that, it's called design thinking. So, and also please also involve business people in this phase, as they are absolutely critical for the new business process design and also critical success factor for the implementation and acceptance later on. And after that, and dependent on the migration scenarios, you do the architecture design and technical implementation planning, including the data migration. And in order to reduce implementation time and cost, there are tools like guided configuration, which helps you to implement business processes with an easy-to-use tools. So you can compare this with an installation wizard. However, it's of course a bit more than that. And also, please also stay tuned on that, because we will run very detailed early knowledge transfer sessions on conversions very soon. I think the latest will be after the FCOMs in January. And regarding the custom code and content of existing SAP system, I think it's now then also a good time to clean up for some history and take what's good and use and leave behind the rest. And SAP did exactly such thing with when they moved to their S4hana environment, and they removed 50% of their data, respectively archived those data. And at the end, conduct the respective user training and do the UI adoption, and of course integrate and implement industry or LOB solutions or even partner add-ons. I would like now to skip the last 2 pages. On this you will find the links to the assets I mentioned here for implementation and conversion, and also for S4hana trainings. And here you have general assets on S4hana. Please check it out. I think it's worth downloading and reading through this. I would like to close with one of my favorite cartoons, and I strongly assume that you are familiar with those pictures, especially the behaviors of human beings on it. And my message to you here is think about your digital business vision and identify the value from it. Think about what needs to be changed in your environment, and in case you see a value from your digital business vision, and if you have identified that a change is required, we are happy, and I guess also Wisemen as our partner is happy to support you when you decide to transform your business with SAP, with S4hana as a digital core of that. And with that, I would close my presentation and hand over back to Jerry here.
Okay, thank you, Holger. We really appreciate that. And I'd like to invite Casey. Would you like to take over now?
Sure. Can you make me the presenter?
Sure. Okay, Casey, I think you should be able to be the presenter now.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So, good evening to all our guests from Europe and in Asia, and good afternoon to all our guests in the North America. I know it's a global audience. Over 100 participants have joined this particular webinar. Thank you again for joining this one. My name is K.C. Sahu. I lead this SAP team at Wisemen. We are a 18-year-old company stationed in Houston, Texas. We have been doing business entirely in North America. We have 5 offices in the U.S. as well as in Dubai and India. We have 550 employees working both in the U.S. as well as in India. We are serving customers in the U.S. In 8 different verticals, more particularly in utilities, oil and gas, and manufacturing. SAP services is one of our primary offerings, and we have close to 30 customers in this space. Right now, we are engaged in deploying the s4hana solution in our customer, in one of our customers at Houston, Texas, and that became the source of inspiration to organize this particular webinar now. Some of our key customers in different industry verticals I have shown in this slide. Of course, you can see some of them are the industry leaders like CenterPoint Energy. We are one of their prime vendors supporting in all kinds of technologies. We are supporting ABB, who are one of the manufacturing giants not only in the US but also in most part of Europe and Asia. They are one of our key customers. And at Par Petroleum in Houston, we are right now deploying the s4hana solution along with other partners. So this is our key list of customers. Of course, I didn't include all the customers that might run down to some 80, 85 or so. Already, Holger has covered a lot of things in relation to s4hana, its power, its different facets, its chronology of evolution. I will just touch upon those key points so that I can build a connection to what I am saying. So s4hana, as you know, it is one of the key innovations of SAP after R3. After 1992, perhaps this is the biggest innovation SAP could have come up with. It runs the same ERP system which you all love, and it runs on a in-memory database like HANA database, and it has got a lot of optimized solutions like simple finance, and in coming days, simple logistics and simple projects and all that. So to just clear the air, s4hana is not another terminology. It is in the chronology of evolution. It is the next generation ERP package for you, like from R3 to ECC to s4hana. Now, already Holger has covered a lot of good things about its primary facets like Fiori. It is very, very pleasing experience to work in the front end. In a short while from now, I'll take you to that screen and try to navigate some of the screens over there. Then it provides a guided configuration option wherein users can do a lot of configuration themselves in the cloud. Like if you have to create a new sales organization, system allows you to go step by step of your own and set up the whole system without really, getting a lot of consulting help. Then it is subscription. You pay as you use, and you don't have to really put a lot of money right up front. Then, as already spoken about, it allows 1/10 of data footprint, which in itself is a big ROI factor for companies. Then 3 to 7 times higher throughput. It is simply because of the very good architecture, the table structure that S4hana provides. It eliminates cluttering, it eliminates clogging in the system, which in a way helps in tremendous throughput. Then 1800 times faster analytics, already mentioned. It is because of the way analytics is powered through the HANA engine. Then you have ERP, CRM, SRM, PLM systems. They are all in the digital core, which in itself provides a lot of flexibilities and eliminates a lot of the complexity during implementation. And then because of this simple architecture, the locking process that was slowing down system, that is eliminated. It is absolutely eliminated. And like this system is having a lot of intelligence. It can recommend, it can provide what-if scenarios, it can predict, it can give you all kinds of intelligence insights that is required for you to run your business. Now I talk about all these good things. Of course, they are pretty much there in every forum, every website, and but just I want to give one example why this is such an innovation that we should talk about. I think many of you are pretty much conversant with the way SAP works. You have different modules in ECC like FI, SD, MM, PP. In each of the areas, you have documents generated every day, like production planning generates a production order. Similarly, FI generates journal entries. SD generates sales order line item. MM generates the purchase order or purchase order line item. Now, in a typical old world, typical R3 or ECC world, if we enter a sales order line item, what typically it does, it creates an entry in VBAP table, right? VBAP table is the line item table. Now, when you change the quantity or change the date, what it does is it creates another record, absolutely one more full record of say like 250 fields, again get created, and it is just not limited to creation of that additional record. It also updates bunch of index tables which are associated or connected with the VBAP table. Also, it updates a bunch of aggregate tables. And this line item table is not standing all alone in itself. It has got also a connection with the header table, and it has got its own status table, and the header has got its own status table. So there is a web of tables that is running the whole engine, of storing data. Any small change or any small update in the system creates a ripple effect and updates series of at least 30 to 40 different tables. And to update those 30-40 tables, you are activating almost like 1 million lines of code in the background. There are programs which are running as intelligence for updating of the tables. So that is what is happening right now in the ECC or R3 world. Now question is why it is happening. Perhaps it was at that point of time this was still considered to be the best of technology, right? It was best of technology. It was considered still to be very efficient. Now that we have moved on, we have seen lot of innovation, lot of new things. Let us find a really innovative way to do the same thing. Now, in the new world, in the S4hana world, what is happening is instead of having so many tables, you just have one flat table, the so-called maximum table or so, with all kinds of fields in one line. And any change to a quantity or so, system does not create a new record. All it does is it just inserts the value. It just inserts the value, and that helps eliminating significant use of system resources. It makes the system pretty agile. The throughput of the system, the efficiency of system goes manifolds, and it gives that whole power that is required for the system to run faster, run better, and not just that, it also helps the system to manage in a very efficient way. You really do not need the big fleet of people to decipher programs or maintain programs or maintain tables. These are becoming very agile, productive systems which run on a lean maintenance basis, and that itself is a big innovation by any scale of imagination. Okay, coming to the real world, I think my previous slide was more conceptual, but this one is the real picture of the S4hana architecture. You have a bunch of tables dedicated for journal entry, GL for COPA for controlling asset accounting and material ledger. Now with the advent of S4hana, they are all gone. All you are having is one big SADOCA table which stores all the possible fields that you can imagine in finance and controlling space. Similarly, in simple logistics simple logistics area, you have a one master table called MATDOC, which basically takes care of all the tables earlier you were dealing with, like MSTG, MSTE, MSTV. So they are all going to go, and you will be dealing with one master table called MATDOC. And because of this simplification, because of this innovation, because of this rationalization of internal structure of the system, automatically the simple finance becomes such a big asset for the system. In earlier world, in ECC, in R3 days, we were spending days and days to reconcile different submodules, like reconciling data between FI and CO, or asset accounting and general ledger. So all that is going to go now, because everything is stored in one place. There is no real reason to reconcile. They are automatically reconciled. There is no aggregation of data required any longer. And as I told earlier, because of this single SADOCA table, FI and CO, they are already merged. There is no real boundary, or there is no wall between FI and CO. You have one platform. You do not have cost element concept any longer. Everything is GL account. When you create a GL account, that time you define if it is a cost element or not, right inside the transaction. So you do not have separate transaction for maintaining cost element. Now, data are stored once. There is the index tables are eliminated, and because of this elimination of so many tables and structures, the throughput itself is so high. Then because reconciliation is avoided, because the data is stored in one place, you are now collapsing the whole period and closing time from 6 to 7 days to 1 day. So if all goes well, a business can be able to close its period right on the first day of the next month. So that in itself is a huge benefit for many companies. You should be able to report your results to stock exchanges. You should be able to report your results to all stakeholders who need the information. And that much period, what you were losing in period and closing, rather you will be using that period to forecast current month or execute plan for the current month. And even in the period and closing process, there are more what-if type of facilities provided. Like even after you close the period, system allows you to do what-if analysis. What if I entered couple of more customer invoices? What if I made couple of more payments to vendors? So you can take into account those type of simulation situations and let the system calculate, a new report, how it would have looked like. And as Holger already mentioned, the reports are real time. There is OLAP and OLTP, they are operating out of same system, so it is super fast reporting that you can experience in the new setup. New receivable managers dashboard. In a while we will see how that looks like. Then you have accelerated incoming payment search. That is also something we will look at right away. Real-time real-time line item browser for vendors. So these are some of the facilities that is available right now in Simple Finance in S4hana. In the logistics area, there are some of the changes already there in the system and that is being released now. You will find MRP run becoming much simpler, much faster. What used to take 12 to 14 hours, now happening in 1 to 2 hours time, almost like 1/10 of the time it used to take. Then in inventory management, the data structure gone through a significant change. Because of that, the throughput of the system has been really good. You don't have to really struggle, getting right performance from these areas, and you get more granular reports. In material valuation, now the system has provided multi-currency reporting and more, valuation through more facilities are there, valuation using material ledger. In ATP area, there are a couple of big changes. Of course, ATP has become really fast. Plus, they have incorporated ATP considering alternate plants and substitutable material, which was something in every customer place we were encountering in R3 days or even ECC days. So this has become a default functionality in S4hana platform. Then capacity planning, new deployment options for bringing PPDS on ERP. Then both order to cash and procure to pay, they look pretty efficient, and they have mostly end-to-end monitoring in one single window. Now I will take you to my live presentation. See, this is the Fiori front end that you will be working with. All your users will be working with in the S4hana world. In the left side margin, what you see is a role-based menu. In a typical real world, based on the role, different users will be assigned different number of tiles. Like say, if you are a accounts receivable manager, then when you open the system, you will be able to see those 4 or 5 tiles, right? Managing customer line item, customer balances, and all that. Similarly, if you are a procurement procurement manager or buyer, you will be having facilities like create purchase order, post goods receipt, create supplier invoice, and all that. So it is strictly based on the basis of roles and responsibility. The tiles are managed. And this front end is extended to all smartphone devices like iPhone, iPad, Android, and exactly the way you see it right now. Same thing is there in all these smartphone devices as well. Now, another significant change in the system is the way you sort different items in the screen. In R3 or ECC world, you make use of match code, put different selection values to search for a particular item. But in this Fiori front end, all you need to do is to put whatever you remember, just like Google, and it allows you to fetch the value right there. So I'm trying to search for a vendor, and all I remember is that some part of the name of the vendor is CityFit, and immediately system gives me all the purchase orders, all the invoices, info records, anything in relation to this particular vendor. So from here, I should be able to navigate to the right screen, whatever I want to. Similarly, if in the transaction space, if I look at say sales order fulfillment, I have all the open sales orders. I have the orders in delivery stage and invoice. So if I try to remove a block from a particular sales order, it immediately says that it immediately gives me an error message. And the error message is nothing but a authorization check. It tells that I do not have maintenance authorization to, unblock this particular invoice. So whatever authorization concept you have in ECC through PFCG, they are all working here too. I mean, you are maintaining, your engine is still the ECC screen or the GUI screen where you maintain PFCG related authorization objects. And whatever you are maintaining, that works over here. Similarly, if you want to post a goods receipt or create a PO or so, it becomes that much easier in the coming in the new system. You do not have to struggle by going to Migo from one screen to another screen, and losing all that time. Same way in the space of purchasing also. Yeah, so I'm trying to just post a goods receipt just to make sure that it is all completed. Yeah, now I'm moving out. Okay, if I have to create a PO, I just click on this create PO tile, select a PO, and ask my system copy the PO. And in a Flash, system copies the settings of the existing PO, and I just click on submit, and it creates a new PO. So these are some of the functionalities what I see in the new system. There are so many graphical reports available. Like if you go to financial statement, you have both balance sheet as well as P&L. They are appearing in one window, and then you have not only have the option of selecting the P&L by the company code you want to. You have also options to select a company the balance sheet or P&L statement by profit center, by business area, or by any other criteria that you want to really filter the balance sheet, like business area, functional area, profit center, and segment. Right, and if you really need to have a sort of a particular expense item, say like a travel, you just put in search, and the system gives you immediately the all the expenses related to travel. So there are similar facilities all across the system in Fury apps. All you need to do is to really keep playing around with the apps, with the tiles, and what I have just shown you, maybe less than 1% of the power of the Fury apps. Now let me go back to my presentation. So now coming to the migration option, I think Holger already covered some of the options. If you are a new customer, it is just like another ERP implementation. But if you already have ERP or SAP ECC on any database, then you migrate to the latest version of EHP, then migrate to migrate to HANA database, and finally to S4hana. If you are already on HANA, you are already on Business Suite on HANA, then you just need to implement the Exchange innovation and get done with this. And as Holger already stated, it's not a very time-consuming multi-year exercise. There are people who are planning for 2-3 months project, and they have been successful. First, you prepare the system. To take up the new structure of the system, like because it is altogether a new architecture. The table structure itself is different. That's why you need to prepare your existing system, do a period end closing, then reconcile all reports, carry out check of configuration, like in asset accounting, in new GL, make sure that whatever recommended by SAP, you just carry out those configuration check, then finally close the period, then save some of the reports so that you can make a comparison right after the migration. Then next one is installation. You install the Simple Finance add-on. When I am saying installation, it is a process in itself wherein the index and total tables are backed up, saved, and finally deleted. And then SAP HANA View creates all those, all those table views with the same name. And then eventually you install HANA Live for your analytics and install Fury. When you delete tables, you are basically deleting the ones in this screen which are in the periphery. The core is ACDOCA and BKPF, but all other surrounding tables are going to go out. Then finally do some of the configuration settings, like in general ledger, you define new general ledger type to accommodate cost elements. Then in new asset accounting, you have some settings. And of course in COPA, you have settings to have accounting-based COPA as default. Then finally, the migration stage. In migration stage, you migrate the cost, migration of cost elements, migration of line items, migration of balances, and after the migration is done, carry out a post-processing step. So if all planned well, you should be done in a few weeks' time as far as whole migration is concerned. So as I mentioned earlier, it is if planned nicely, it should be 6 to 8 weeks a project, but you need to have the right kind of project members and consultants, and of course the data and size of system have significant bearing on the duration. Then some of the areas where the migration has got impact, which needs your special consideration, are interfaces, data warehouses, authorization profile, configuration, and training manual. As I told, we are right now implementing this for one of our customers at Houston, and we are going to go live in the first week of January. And right after the implementation, we will be also supporting the landscape for next 3 years. And the biggest motivation for the customer is a business transformation. They wanted a enabler to help them go to the next stage in business. And S4hana was the biggest thing for them to transform their business to the next stage. And of course, the lesser ones are, resolving current landscape issues, removing silos, and lessen infrastructure complexity and all that. From our experience in engaging with the customer, which is almost like a greenfield project, that RISE-F objects are a key for your success. So take inventory of that right from the beginning of the project, and you will be in total control. Then some of the other lessons we learned is that start building documentation and scripts right off front, because the scripts are no different than what you used to have when you first implemented R3 or ECC. So spend there are not much of a dependency, so you can spend all that time right off front. I know I have already overshot time by 4 to 5 minutes. I'm really thankful to the audience that they have allowed me to overshoot time. But this much I have for this session, and now I am open for taking questions. Either I can answer, or I will request Holger to answer.
So we have received some questions, a number of questions from the audience. but due to some time constraint, I think maybe it would be best if we take these questions offline so that we can respond to each person back. And we can, please do feel free to send us an email at marketing@wisemen.com for any queries that you may have, and we will be getting back with each of you on any of the questions that you have sent in. We received a number of them. So on behalf of Wisemen and SAP, we'd like to thank you for joining us and taking time to view the presentation. And thank you all again, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.